Welcome to Super Agents Live. This is the one place where you can come and hear the most successful people in real estate. You'll hear how these super agents built their businesses, how they stay productive, and how they stay motivated. Who am I? My name's Toby Salgado, and I made my first $1 million in real estate. And I'm your host for the next 30 minutes while we talk to yet another amazing real estate entrepreneur. Stay tuned.
Let's go! Yeah!
Hey everybody, what's up? Toby Salgado here. Welcome back to the show. Now listen, if you are new to the show, what we do on the show is we talk with top producing real estate agents. Now, if you're not an agent, you don't sell real estate, that's okay. This show is about entrepreneurship through the lens of an agent, and the stuff we talk about will work in your business. Whether you could be a painter, plumber, pie maker, it doesn't matter, it'll work. Now, look, what we do today, what we go over today. Now, today's guest, the guy had a trucking business. He grew it from himself to 60 employees at 250 trucks, sold it out, got an offer he says that he couldn't refuse, and then went to real estate. So we talk a little bit about how to reinvent yourself no matter how old you are. You look, and I know a lot of you guys are sometimes out there going, look, I don't have the education, I'm too old, I'm not smart enough. You guys can do it. Today's guest is proof of that. We talk about why you need to listen to your clients. Why you need to get yourself noticed, man. Why everything is about exposure. And in that vein, you should do every event that you're able. He says that you should find somebody to model them. Go out, find somebody you respect, buy them coffee, buy them lunch, and ask them good questions. We also talk about all the ways that you can touch your database, how best to do mailers, and why execution is going to be the most challenging piece for you guys. All right, now before we get there, normally I talk about our radio advertising arm, Real Estate Radio Experts, and but I'm going to talk about it in this way. We're growing, so this is an invitation to you guys. We are looking for an outside sales agent. So I don't care where you're at. If you are excited about maybe changing careers from real estate to selling radio advertising to real estate agents, I'd love to hear from you. And look, don't send me an email that says how much, period. Send me your background, send me your resume, send me a cover letter, tell me why you would be great. Because look, if whoever we pick to work with us, I'm going to coach them on how to get awesome at sales. I'm going to take them under my wing. I'm going to help you out. I'm going to help you grow. We have a great culture here, and so look, I know we have lots of awesome people out there listening. So if you're interested and really interested, and you think you are great at sales, or you think you could be great at sales, maybe you are working on your sales skills, but you have a big network of agents or mortgage brokers or whatever, send me an email. You can send it to superagentslive@gmail.com. I read everything. Now, really quickly, hashtag for the show is Unpack That Idea. My Twitter handle is superagentslive. And you know what? Here's what you need to do. If you haven't, go to the website. Go to superagentslive.com. Download my book so that I have your email. Lots of times we'll do stuff that are specific to our email list that we don't talk about on the show. I'd love for you to be a part of that new stuff and not miss future episodes. So, all right, that's it. Let's hit it. On the show today, I'm excited to talk to today's guest. Now, today's guest is in Sarasota, Florida. He's got an interesting team. It's a husband and wife duo with a partner. They have one buyer's agent and one admin. Now, with that small-ish team, they do 54 transactions, $45 million. I'm thrilled to welcome Jim Soda. Hey, Jim, thanks for taking the time out.
Thank you very much. Glad to be on the show today.
Now, listen, before I want to dig into what your business looks like, what your marketing looks like, what your systems look like, but before we do that, take a minute, tell us a little bit about yourself, Jim. We want to get to know the man behind the machine.
My previous life, I owned a trucking business up in Ohio, and I grew that business from 5 employees and 6 trucks to 60-some employees and 250 trucks within about a 25-year period. So we were very successful, and it taught me business. It taught me about negotiating. It taught me negotiating with Teamsters, negotiating with Fortune 500 companies or EPA or along those lines. And one of my customers came along and made me an offer I couldn't refuse.
And bought you out.
Bought me out, and stayed in Ohio for a few years, sort of semi-retired, and decided I wanted to get out of the gray skies and heavy snow and shoveling slush, and came to Sarasota. And I didn't know what I was going to do down here, actually. But one of my old corporate attorneys said, Jim, I know you can market, I know you can sell. Get your real estate license, and if we can't find something for you to buy or partner with or something, let's see what happens. So I got my real estate license in 2001, and I never looked back. And it's been a great career. It's been a fun career. Sort of reinvented myself, and became one of the household names here in the Sarasota area, Lakewood Ranch areas.
I mean, you did reinvent yourself, and if I think of, I've never been in trucking, but I've met lots of truckers, man, and they're rough and gruff guys, man. I mean, very little polish on those guys, and I imagine for you, Jim, managing 66 of these gruff, unpolished guys and saying, hey, get in the truck at 4 a.m. and drive till 5 p.m. You had to be that guy. So was it difficult in that reinvention of yourself to go from that, dealing with that kind of person for 25 years to then going and dealing with upscale buyers and sellers in Sarasota?
I think for me, Toby, dealing with the truck driver mentality, and there were some great drivers. I really had a good career, and I really had very little turnover. And then going to dealing with your Fortune 500 companies, your CEOs, your VPs, it sort of gave me such a roundabout, a well-rounded background in dealing with people that I think, real estate was easy. And I say that with tongue in cheek sometimes, but what I learned in my own trucking business and what I learned in dealing with people and that is helped me immensely. And I think people in business, being in business and going into real estate actually make better agents. We run ours like a business. We have goals. We have financial statements. We watch our numbers every month. We have a budget for advertising, marketing. We'll always take a flyer on some different things at times. If it works, fine. If it doesn't, we don't do it again. But we've got I've got systems in place now over a 10-year period, 11-year period that work for us. They may not work for someone else, but they do work for us.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, just because you knew how to run a business, I mean, that gave you a leg up. I mean, that's one of the things that I see with most agents. They get into real estate thinking that they want to own their time or make a ton of money, and they do neither. They abuse their time freedom, and they'll never get financial freedom. Because they don't think of it like a business. Let me ask you that, Jim. So with your background, right? So you have this person, you know how to deal with Fortune 500 CEOs. So you have that. In terms of systems, what are some of the ways that you laid out your business from the early days?
Well, from the early days, it was, I think, catch as catch can sometimes that I was. I came to Florida and came to Sarasota, and I was able to learn the business. I went to every class I could get to, and tapes and videos, and the old coaches of the world. I even went through some of them, and I find out that you're your own best coach, you're your own motivator, or you're not going to make it in this business. I had a good start out on Longboat Key, which is a very high-end, affluent area on the Gulf of Mexico. A lot of waterfront, both on the Gulf and Bay. And I got my first start out there. My first listing was, I think, $580,000. Sold it, got a couple more, and it really gave me a great kickstart. And I had a good teacher and a marketing girl that came down from Pittsburgh. And she had been in the real estate marketing business for probably 10 or 15 years. And she took me by the hand and said, you do this, you do that, and I listened pretty good. And I think I even go back to, say, my own previous business and the trucking business. I listened to my customers, and I guess that's probably the best advice I can give to young realtors. And not all realtors are created equal. I found that out. But, you listen, to your buyer, your seller. You go out there, you make yourself known as best you can. If you have some money to do some branding, I think that's probably one of the best ways, and I was able to do that. Also, you go to every networking event that you can find, every free dinner that you can that they throw at you in the real estate business, and just keep meeting people. And finally, it builds and builds and builds, and we've got a great backlog now, and we always carry somewhere between 20 to 25 listings. In the heyday in 2005, I think our total we get up to 74 listings.
Wow.
Now that was a lot of work.
Yeah. I can imagine. Well, if I go back to, what you got that first $500 and something $1,000 listing, and it said it gave you a good kickstart. What do you mean from a kickstart from a financial state, from a mindset state? How did you mean that it gave you a good kickstart?
I think a mindset stage. It wasn't the commission I was going to make on that, Toby. It was a mindset that here I am with my first listing at up almost $600,000. I'm competing in a larger market now. And I had a lot of advice from some good agents out there. And what I would do is take one of the better-known agents, the more successful agents, let me go have coffee with you in the morning. Let me tell you, I'll buy you lunch. And I think at that time, none of them were afraid to talk to me. They were always there to help because they maybe didn't think I was going to be any competition or threat.
Right.
Now, today, they've got some networking groups that I've been invited back in that I was in, agents that I was in awe of over, in the earlier years. And I still in awe of some of them. Some of these guys roll out of bed and they'll do, $60 to $70 million a year. We've got a couple agents in Naples area doing 140, 150 million a year.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm like that. That's who I talk to all day long, man. So So what you said, you found somebody that you can model, and you went out and you bought them coffee, bought them lunch, and they weren't afraid of you because they didn't think you were going to be competition. Now, is that something for somebody out there doing 20 transactions, right, or 10, or some people that haven't even done one yet and they're listening to this show? What would you say about going and finding somebody to model? How do they do that? And I'll stop there.
I think what you do, and I said, I go back to my previous experience in my own trucking company, is you go back and use the Dutch uncle approach I use, and can you help me? I'm getting started. I want to learn. Can you help me with anything? Ask good questions because you're going to get a good answer from them, from a good agent. And most agents have an ego, or we wouldn't be in this business.
Yeah.
And so they're not afraid to say, hey, I've done this or I've done that, or one of the women could say, we've always approached it this way. You get a stager, you get the best photographer you can. You get and you get the names and people and places and phone numbers, and you start from there. And I had one of the best photographers in town. I shadowed him for a day or two a week, and just going around looking at homes and seeing what he was shooting, and he would always coach me. Hey, Jim, these guys are doing this for their photos. These people are doing this for their types of photos. Now I'm going back to, before virtual tours. And now we're doing all videos. So there's a lot of people out there I think you can ask for advice and very willing to share the advice.
See, I think that's the thing. I mean, that's what I found. I mean, I think if you do ask, people are willing to share. I mean, there's many people who come on this show that are top guys, and they might be in Omaha, Nebraska, and they're saying, listen, if you want to, you can fly in from wherever you are, and you can spend a day with me and my team. And you know what? I mean, I should follow up with some of those guys. Go, look, has anybody taken you up on that?
Yeah, I think it's a great mode, to learn, old or new. An older agent or an experienced agent or a younger agent, because you're always going to learn something. That's why I try to go to a lot of the shows and a lot of the conventions and and networking sessions. That you always learn something. If you learn one nugget, When
Right.
you come back from a trip or come back, it's going to help you somewhere along the line.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Well, as long as you implement. I mean, that's the other thing.
Yes,
You know,
execution is the yeah.
I mean, we all know what to do, and it just and people don't execute. It's mind-boggling to me. I mean, they listen to my show and they'll listen and listen and listen. They know all the stuff, and then they just don't do it.
And that's difficult. The execution, I'd say, is the most difficult. And I don't care if it's real estate or whatever you're putting your mind to.
Yeah. So, well, in terms of execution, now, one of the key numbers is 50 transactions. Because if you can get to 50, with having, a very small team, if you can get to 50, you can do 100. It's just a matter of replicating what you're doing. What are some of the systems that you have in place to handle your $45 million of volume?
I think our database and our push-the-button mode to touch our database is probably key. We probably got close to 3,000 people in our database. Every new listing we get, we don't send them just mundane emails or postcards or anything like that, but new listings go to all of our database. New listings go to the top 50 agents in the area. New listings go to our own company throughout our own system. And our Premier Sotheby's International Realty, we've got 22 offices that run from Clearwater, Florida, clear to Marco Island, and we just opened up 3 offices in Charlotte, North Carolina. So we've got a great in-house agent number to really bring to the table.
Okay. So you didn't tell me you had multiple offices. How many offices do you have, Jim?
Premier Sotheby's has 27 offices in their group, and Premier Sotheby's this year was the top Sotheby's group in the entire global network.
Oh, I got you.
We're pretty proud of that.
Right. Okay. But it's not. So when you say you open it up something in Charlotte, that's Premier Sotheby's. That's not.
No, that's Premier Sotheby's. That's the parent. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, you know who's out there. I don't know if you know these. Do you know Lisa Archer and her partner Live Love Charlotte? They're out there.
I think I know the names. I don't know if I've met them, but I know the names.
Yeah, they were actually like in Swapnil's most influential. They were one of the top. I don't know why. They've both been on the show, but anyhow, way off topic. All right, so you have this push. You send out. What else do you?
We do a lot down here now. We mailings do work for us down here. Maybe in other parts of the country that the hard mail, snail mail is not used, but for us and the greater Sarasota area, Lakewood Ranch area, the hard postcards mailing programs work. And we have a couple of systems in place where we have a design team, outside design team that puts the cards together, templates are made, and my wife tells them what we want to do as far as here's a just listing, here's a just sold, here's the homes, here's the photos, and we have an automatic mail house. They receive the cards and they get mailed out. We don't touch anything other than my wife giving them the right photos and some of the wording in that. But even some of the wording in that is already on the templates.
Well, what's the overall model for that? Look, I'll give you kind of a push in the right direction. So, when I talk about mailings and what that mailing should look like, it shouldn't be a generic mailing. You should not send out a Remax card with a just list. It should be a photo that if you have a farm that somebody can look at it and go, oh yeah, like I know that area. That's 2 streets over. What's your thoughts on creating an effective card or mailing?
Well, that's exactly what we do, Toby. In our mailings here, we have maybe 5 different subdivisions that we continually hit. There's 2,500 homes in one subdivision. There's about 800 homes in another. And these subdivisions are all, 500 and above. A couple of the subdivisions we constantly mail to are starting in the $1 million homes and on up. So those are the areas that we continuously mail and they're well-designed cards, or specially designed card with not only with the Sotheby's brand, but the Soda Group brand.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be consistent. You can't send a card one day and say, well, I didn't get a response. Well,
Right.
Nobody responds to them
Right.
in one mailing. So in these mailing lists that I have, and I've been sending these to the same people now for probably 8 years. Now the card colors have changed at times if I went from changed companies, but the message has always been the same.
And how did you get that mailing list? I mean, well, here's specifically my question. So you can get that 500 house area and send them a card because you can know all their addresses: 123 Main Street, 126 Main Street. But do you actually have a list where it goes Jim Soda at 123, or is it to current resident?
No, our mailing lists are all to the named address. And it's done by our mail house.
Okay.
They can do it both ways. We pay a little extra that it goes to Jim Soda rather than current resident.
Got it. Okay.
Or it may go to their mailing address. It may go to UK. It may go to their Canadian address. It may go to their Boston or Chicago address also. But it's going to the main mailing address.
Gotcha. Okay.
And they feel a little more important rather than just getting resident.
Yeah. Have you played with mailings, Jim? Have you played with obviously the more personalized a mailing can be, the more effective it is. You can have fonts that look like it's being written, or you can actually write something. I mean, have you played with that kind of thing?
Yeah, we have, and that's usually done by our designer. If we wanted a special font or a handwritten font, that they can usually find a font, send it to us for approval, and get it right back out again.
What kind of as you get more personalized or seemingly more personalized, how much more effective are those?
What we use those on, Toby, mostly is like a special invitation to an open house. And what we've been doing is like even special invitations to the neighbors. Now those we try to either handwrite or have the designer create the card and take my signature, my wife Donna's signature, and Stacy's signature, and implement that right into the card. I think that's a nice touch.
Yeah. No, I agree. So, and we started talking about your database. Well, I'm going to move on in a second, but before we move on, what are other ways that you touch your database?
Well, the email, in touching our database through emails, my wife will write a blog, or I'll write a blog, or Stacy will write something, and we'll get that out. And we just don't send something out to send it out. We want to be specific. We want to be something that's a learning nature to a client. Whether it might be title insurance, whether it might be new flood regulations, whether or not how it affects the marketing, how it affects you as the homeowner. Rather than say, oh yeah, we got a new listing, or we got here's a sale we had. We try to make it pertinent and try to make it informational to our sellers, our buyers, or the people who may become our buyers or sellers for that reason.
Right. So in this, this your farm areas, you've been mailing them for 8 years. So obviously all those people know who the Jim Soda is. They know who the Soda Group is.
Yes.
How do you leverage that? And I'm thinking about open houses. Do you do open houses? And again, I'll stop.
We do. I'm getting back to them. We've done them for a long time, and I've had many. I've not sold many houses off an open house, but I've gotten tremendous amount of listings off of doing open houses. And you'll meet people, you meet neighbors, you meet. I've always wanted to meet you. I see all your mail, I see all you, but I've never met you. And when I joined one of the country clubs here, I had a lot of the guys come up to me and say, I feel like I know you, but I never met you. So we did a great job with the branding and getting out there and getting the name out there. And the name Soda is an easy, it's S-O-D-A. It's easy to remember. It's easy to spell. And anytime now when you hear soda, it's real estate synonymous with it.
How funny. Yeah, well, you know what? I'm hearing that same thing. People are leveraging open houses, but they're not even remotely concerned or thinking about finding a buyer. They want to get, meet more people for listings. So
yeah, that's my take on it. A lot of some new agents, we try to give new agents as many open houses as they want because I know where they're coming from. They need to get into the marketplace somehow, and if they can pick up a buyer, from our open house, God bless them. Let them run with it, and if they need help, we're here. Now my buyer's agents, my one buyer's agent, he'll set open houses 3 and 4 days a week, and he's been able to pick up buyers, and at the oddest times, but it works for him.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. So let's say that I moved out there to Sarasota, and I look at the Soda Group, and I go, I know you guys are killing it, and I know that you guys have these farms, but I do the math, right? I do the research, and I go, man, this one area is a great area for a farm. I want to do it. So again, I'm a new agent, and I'm new to the area. Would it, in terms of a strategy, should I then? Here's what I'm saying: if I want to leverage all the work you've done with the name Sotheby's, I would try to join Sotheby's, number one. Number two, then if I'm a Sotheby's guy, then I have the opportunity to go to Jim Soda and say, hey, Jim, I'm new here. Let me hold some of your houses open. That might be too complicated of a thing that I just.
No, it's really that simple, Toby. I think that's about as simple as you can put it in terms. As we like to work with younger agents, or not. Sotheby's doesn't take the newest or the newbie off the street, but if they've got any kind of savvy and they've got any kind of business sense, Sotheby's wants that kind of girl or that kind of guy that they can help mold and help shape, and they can maybe put them with someone like us as a mentor,
right?
For a while, and they may want to stay with you. Some agents or maybe fear going out there on their own.
Yeah.
I've gone from big teams to small teams to back where we are right now, and this is very manageable, and being more manageable now because our numbers are much higher. I was with another brand for 3 years, and my sale price average there was about $4.25, maybe $4.50. Now since joining Sotheby's, we've been there a year, and our average price now is about $6.25 to $6.50.
Yeah, and look, the reason why I brought that up, Jim, in terms of, I think people struggle with that. Too many agents are, I don't know if it's a scarcity mindset or what it is, but, they end up choosing a brokerage only for splits, and they end up with, not a great spot.
No, they end up with a lot of, angst, a lot of, anxiety and some frustration, and there's, years gone by, they haven't learned anything, and they haven't got any business either.
Right. Okay, so in terms of systems, you have this push button method to reach your database. What other systems do you think that have been helpful for you that you've built along the way?
Well, we've been able to standardize our listing paperwork. My inside girl, Patty's been with me for 3 years. I really, she developed a lot of the systems that I had in place, and she took them and just tweaked them, to make them better, make them easier, make them more streamlined, that we can, all get in. And the tools today, you've got Dropbox, you've got all these different,
right.
The cloud that, you can reach anything at any time from anywhere. The mobile, real estate system, mobile apps now are just phenomenal. Sotheby's has one that's been phenomenal that we've been able to use and, share with our buyers and sellers. So the tools of today are different from the tools that I started with, and they're far different from, the 10 years before that. So, the market has gotten, real estate, I'll say if it's gotten easier, but the tools have certainly made it somewhat easier, more streamlined. That it's still time consuming. There's not a day goes by which our phones aren't off, and it seems like 24 hours a day, 7 days a week anymore, including Super Bowl Sunday we were working. But and that's the other thing. I've given seminars to some of the younger agents, and my first statement is, you go to work every day. You return phone calls, you go to work every day, and you make yourself available.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That right. That if you suit up, show up, and answer your phone, like you're way ahead of most.
Great way to put it. I like that one.
So, what we talked about mailers, we talked about your database. What else is working for you in Sarasota today?
Some networking events and networking groups that I started one when business was so bad here, 2006, 7, 8. We started a group in Lakewood Ranch where we're more domiciled, and we brought in 10 realtors from 5 or 6 different companies, and what we did is we just shared idea. Once a month we would meet at somebody's listing, have cheese and wine, talk about what's working for you, what's working for me, what do you see with buyers, what do you see with mortgages, and, can I sell your listing or can you sell mine? And it's been a phenomenal approach to the market. Our sellers love it. We've been able to put deals together, even the complicated deals together, because you're with this group and you've broken bread with them over months now, and a deal comes in and you get a deal together. And these realtor groups, I belong to 2 of them, and they've been phenomenal as far as meeting other realtors, seeing how other realtors do it, how their systems work, where they, even like, what do you pay your assistant? Okay, what are you paying yours?
Right.
And sharing ideas like that you'd never find out any other way.
And I think the other thing too, Jim, is if you, I think all that stuff is true, but also if you developed, before we started recording, you kind of cover an area that's called East County in Sarasota. And, the other thing is, if you start to network with those other agents in East County, you get new ideas, but you also get background information, right? Like, hey, why is that guy moving, right? Why is it, or who's not doing well, who's whatever. So I think there's tons and tons of positive from those networking things. So,
well, last night, just for example, I went to a meeting that's out on Longboat Key. It's all waterfront, very high end, very high exclusive, affluent area. We had a fella in that told us everything what was going on with the city, with the village, what new regulations, who new developers were coming in, what new condos were going up. And to get that information in an hour, it was invaluable that you had that kind of touch or that kind of a reach to sit there with 10 other realtors and hear that talk. I would it'd take weeks to go find that information.
Right. Yeah, I love it. Well, so for you, Jim, what's next, man?
What's next? Well, want to get the next level. Want to get to about $50 million.
Oh, come on, you can do that. That's only another $5 million.
Yeah, I think we can. Our market's been strong, and I think it continues to be strong. We can. I think we can do 50 to 55 million this coming year, and that's our goal.
Yeah,
no way, shape, or form.
I think you can do 55. So, but look, so for somebody out there that's doing, 40 million like you, or 20 million, or 10 or 5, I mean, how are you going to do? What does that look like? You getting there? Is it just pouring more gas on the? I mean, because look, you have 3,000 people in database. You can only touch them so much. You can only mail to your farm so much. So what is that thing that you're going to implement?
I think that's where we're looking to tweak now, Toby. And I think this year for us, and maybe a lot of the areas in Florida now, I think is going to be the year for the buyer. The last several winters were so terrible, and they're getting such bad weather up there now that I think we're going to see more buyers, and inventories is going to be sort of on the low side. Inventory's been low, but we are seeing a little bit come back on the market now because our market's up, the prices are up. Nobody wants to miss the market again. But and that's how do you get in front of that buyer? How do you get in front of the buyer before he gets to Sarasota, before he gets off that airplane in Tampa? And I think that's what we're looking at now. And do we go to national newspapers? Do we go to Chicago, Boston, Cleveland? And that's pretty much our Midwest and Northeast market. Do we go into those marketplaces with, radio? Do you go with newspaper media? And I think that's what we're sort of, trying to get our arms around now, and how to reach out to that buyer before he gets here.
Have you?
We've got a great website. We get a lot of SEO both from Office Sotheby's and the sodagroup.com. And I can always tell when the weather's bad because it lights up like a Christmas tree.
That's funny. Well, have you played with Google pay-per-click or Facebook ads at all?
We do. We've done that in the past with Google and pay placement ads, but now we've got such organic mode with our website, so we really haven't gone back to do the pay for ads.
Gotcha. Well, and I was just thinking because with Facebook in particular, if you wanted to target Chicago, or some of those other markets, you can target them, and rather than buying print media, you could that might be a cheap and effective way for you.
We use LinkedIn, we use Facebook, but some of the things that you're talking about, I think that's probably the next best.
Yeah, absolutely.
Low cost, no cost way of getting there.
Right. I mean, yeah, I think, certainly lower cost. Facebook ads are cheap. Twitter ads. Twitter's got an ad platform that they're moving out that is ultra cheap. Instagram. They're going to have an ad model, which is again, all these models. Google used to be cheap until it started working, and now it's crazy expensive. But but all these new platforms, I would say for you and for anybody listening, you should look at Google, you should look at Twitter, because in their infancy, they're going to make sure that they work, and they're going to be cheap. So.
Yeah, we do a lot of tweets. We use Twitter a lot. I've never, what you're saying is new to me. So that
they just launched it.
Now I'm going to take notes.
Yeah. Well, okay. So look, we're going to start wrapping up, Jim. I'm going to ask you the same three questions I ask everybody. Well, I'm going to ask you one crazy one. I'm going to ask you one. I don't ask everybody this. And here's the question: what's something I should have asked you that I didn't?
Would you do something else if it was available?
Yeah, would you?
And I'd have to say no.
Are you?
I'd have to say no. I mean, I really love the business, the people you meet, the deals you put together, and I think all three of us, my wife, myself, and my partner, look at this business as creating relationships and making that dream house come true. Mm-hmm. But creating relationships for life, and it's not about the next transaction.
Yeah, that's key, man. That is key. Well, and look, I got to think, if you would have started in real estate instead of building that successful trucking business, 250 trucks, that's a crazy amount of, metal out there. So I wonder where you'd be today if you didn't spend 2 decades of your life building that.
Yeah, I wondered that at times too. That was a great business for me also. I mean, I started when I was 22 years old.
Wow.
In the trucking business, and bought this little dump truck company that nobody knew about, and built it into a national competitor, and so we ran all through the United States and Canada.
That's amazing.
Building it was tough. I think probably maybe being naive at that age at 22, nobody could tell you what you couldn't do.
Yeah. You had no idea, and you did it.
No, and nobody could. Yeah, I didn't know what I couldn't do.
I have some experiences like that of my own, and I had a company with 58 people. And it was so on demand, just like I'm sure your trucking was, that for me and for you, you might have been in Ohio, wherever you were, but you were solving problems in Canada, right? You woke up and you're like, I don't know what's going to go wrong. Something's going to go wrong, and you have to mobilize people through the telephone. And
we did. As I say, we had jobs going in the later years in the 80s. I started to get jobs out in Seattle and Tacoma and South Dakota and Alabama. So you had to be a problem solver and come up with the solutions. Yeah,
but just again, for everybody listening to this, I just want to remind them, when you started that, Jim, today, if I want a phone number of an auto repair shop in Poughkeepsie, New York, I do a Google search, done. Back then, you're like, holy, you dialed 411,
Yeah, you dial 411 and or you tell the driver, hey, when you look around for somebody out there when you're coming back.
Right.
Look for a name and a number of a tire shop.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Well, look, okay, so we got to start wrapping up. I got to finish up. Here's the first of my three. For you, Jim, in your path to success, who has been a mentor to you?
Boy, I got to go back to my father because he taught me very well. I was an only child. I could have went either way, but I think he really taught me. He taught me to learn about to learn as much as you can about business. Treat people right. Your handshake is a handshake is your honor, and whether you got to eat something or not, you're going to eat it because you're not going to go back to the client. So I think probably my father was the best mentor, and of course he's passed away by now. But I just had some good people in the real estate business. I go back to the marketing girl from the Pittsburgh area who was in the business for years, and she just knew. I think following her footsteps or guidelines, she put me in touch with my first. I had ad designer, graphics designer, and I think these are the people you got to meet. These are the people you got to find as a new agent coming up to the business, and being able to trust them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I everybody in the audience, I 100%, I think that, you should take Jim's advice on that and put together a list of, of both people in the industry selling real estate that you would love to model and meet and get to know. And then also, other entrepreneurs out there in the marketplace, get 10 and 10 and literally, put them on a calendar, say target Jim Soda for the month of February, right? Target, Harvey McKay for the month of March. So that's great advice, Jim. I'm going to ask you for a book recommendation. So I don't know if you read or not, but here's the setup. I'm an aspiring agent. I have $25. What book should I go buy today?
Jeez. What book would I go buy today? I'm an O'Reilly fan, so I'd probably have to go buy one of the Killing Lincoln.
Oh, yeah.
One of those books. But I think from the real estate side, I'm not sure there's one book out there. The Millionaire, I would have to say, The Millionaire Agent.
Yeah. Man, that one comes up too much on the show. But listen, everybody.
Yeah, and I'm sure it does. Everybody's read it. Whether you believe everything in it or not, but everybody at least reads it.
See, I'll tell you, I thought you were going to say something like, How to Win Friends and Influence People, kind of.
Well, I've read that in high school. So.
Yeah, that's a great one. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, that's a good one. Well, look, everybody.
Yeah, I've read that one too. I've read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I go back to my earlier days, and those are all great books to read.
Awesome books.
I think they're awesome books to read, and I think those are the types of books where a young agent has to read them, and then a new agent trying to get into the game. I don't care if it's real estate or whatever business. And I think those are solid foundations that really can. If you got a great mind, that you can tweak it and imagine some things that you can do with some of the stories and theories and fly and run with it.
I agree. And look, everybody, if you haven't read some of those cornerstone books, Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, How to Win Friends and Influence People, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I'm going to put together like a sexy 12 or sexy 6 out there for everybody. But listen, get a free copy. Use our link, get a free copy. Go to audibletrial.com/superagentslive and get a copy on us. My last question to you, Jim Soda. Do you have a personal, I was just a pause there, but do you have a personal habit that you feel has contributed to your success?
I think, I hate to put it in the words of fear of failure, but I think that it's not so much fear of failure as that you just, you got it's motivation. A high for me is making the deal work.
Yeah,
getting a win-win situation from that buyer and seller, or beating another agent out of that $2 million listing.
Got it.
We were successful. I think those those are the key factors for me. That's what makes me go to work every day.
You walk away from those going, man, I'm good. I thought I was good. I know I'm good.
Yeah, a little bump in your step.
Oh, yeah. I love that. Well, listen.
And I think your sellers and buyers can see that, too.
I agree.
You come in, I think they can see through, the lack of confidence.
Well, I mean, it's just like that agent who not only wants that commission but needs that commission check. People can smell that a mile away, and
they can.
And the other piece, if you roll in with confidence, knowing, hey, look, I'm going to do the best job. I have the cure to cancer. People know that too. So it's all about how good of an actor you can be. And to exude whatever and influence people towards whatever you want them to. Anyhow,
and being sincere about it.
Yeah.
That you're working for them.
Well, and we got to. I mean, I think you're a guy that I think we could bounce around for the next hour, but we don't have time. So
probably could. I appreciate it. I really enjoyed it, Toby. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problems. Well, look, here's the deal. I always encourage my audience to, if they've got anything out of the episode, to reach out and say thank you to you. So where can people find you, Jim?
thesodagroup.com is our website. That's SODA. My email address is sodasales, SELLS, sodasales@gmail.com is the easiest way to find me, and my cell number is 941-809-7759.
Wow, man. You are a sharing guy. Well, look, everybody, I know you want to call Jim, but you might be driving your car, walking your dog, riding your bike, whatever. It's all going to be on our website. Go to superagentslive.com, and all the show notes written by our fantastic writer, Luis, will be on there. So, Jim, I'm going to start the thank you train now. Thanks for coming on the show. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day.
Thank you very much. Enjoyed it.
Let's stay in touch, buddy.
Bye now.